So one of the biggest states for the good herb is in trouble. Colorado scored a C+ in a recent ranking. Dispos are being found to have dangerously high levels of mold and yeast, and 3 weed companies were hit with serious fines, lawsuits, and kicked out of Colorado after their cannabis products were linked to serious liver injuries.
3 cannabis companies have been ordered to stop operating in Colorado. Authorities say their products were linked to health risks that they failed to disclose. Democratic Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser announced he had reached a $400,000 settlement with the manufacturers and distributors of the 1906 brand of cannabis products, along with their co-founder, Peter Barson. Under that settlement, 3 companies, Nuka Enterprises, SEMA Sciences, and Nuka Properties, are being booted from the state. This comes after customers started complaining in 2020, reporting the products were causing liver problems. Weiser says if the companies meet certain conditions down the line, they'll be allowed to resume selling products in Colorado.
Now, this is a big story that broke just last week, and you guys can see how crazy it is. Companies literally being kicked out of state because of some of these reports of liver injuries. Now, liver injuries are very serious, and in a situation where you're actually using some of these products for medical relief, you do not want to end up with an even worse medical problem. Example, liver injuries. Now, according to this article, these 3 companies which manufactured and distributed the 1906 line of products in Colorado beginning in 2016, and these products were actually called Midnight Drops, which is basically a plant-based mixture in a pill form, a sleep aid of sorts. Now, the makers of the product began receiving complaints from consumers in 2020, and there was a notice which was issued which cited potential side effects of Cordyralis, a herbal supplement in the Midnight Drops. Despite limited research, the state agencies indicated that the Cordyralis rhizome extract may have some connection with liver injury. Now here's the kicker, guys. The companies agreed to stop the production of the Midnight Drops and remove the existing products from the marketplace. However, the product was never removed from the shelves, and the companies continued to sell and make the Midnight Drops. All of this led to the companies settling the lawsuit, which was filed by the state, and agreeing to pay a penalty of $400,000 and agreeing to cease operations in Colorado.
Companies connected to a cannabis-based sleep aid are ending their operations in Colorado. This comes after a settlement and fine to resolve a lawsuit filed by the state. The lawsuit centered around potential side effects in the sleep aid Midnight Drops, which state agencies claim may have some connection with liver injury. The companies paid a $400,000 penalty and agreed to stop operating in Colorado to resolve the lawsuit.
Now, despite the companies being asked to leave Colorado and paying this $400,000 fine, I have a few questions. Are these companies still producing these Midnight Drops? Are they still selling the Midnight Drops? Are they just going to move out of state, set up in another state, and still sell those exact same products? All of these are questions that we need answered. Now, if you guys are wondering why my mouth looks a little bit funny, I had a dentist appointment this morning and I'm still just a little bit numb. That probably explains why I'm looking like the Wayans brothers from Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. But anyway, that's not the first time that companies for the good herb in Colorado had to settle with the AG. There was another occasion not too long ago where they actually had to settle with the AG because they misrepresented their products. Let's check it out.
Turning to the state capitol now, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser reaching settlements with 2 companies accused of misrepresenting their cannabis products. MC Global Holdings accused of misrepresenting the health benefits of some of their hemp products, and Cookies Creative Consulting and Promotions, which sells cookies, accused of misrepresenting the source of their THC infusion. Both companies agreed to pay about $90,000 to the state.
So as you guys can see, a number of cannabis companies are getting pulled up by their socks and forced to pay some of these fines. And it's all because they're not doing what they're supposed to. It's simple stuff, guys. And all of this is leading to lots of folks to call for more inspections at a lot of these Colorado dispos and saying that they need to improve their processes.
Just over a decade ago, Colorado legalized recreational marijuana. And that licensed store you've been buying from may have gone unchecked. A state audit found several issues with work done by the Marijuana Enforcement Division. They're responsible for regulating the industry, including licensing, inspections, and investigating violations of the law. The audit found between fiscal year 2019 and 2022, the division didn't inspect nearly 40% of new stores within 1 year of getting a license. Wow. In-person inspections went way down during the pandemic. They've started to go up since 2021, but by this year, the number still hasn't reached pre-pandemic levels. Some of those inspections, including checking if the store was selling to people under 21. The audit found the division didn't do that for 75 stores that were at greater risk of breaking the rules. And whenever a store broke the rules, auditors say investigators didn't pursue disciplinary action consistently.
Now, this is something that we've discussed countless times on the channel, and this is why we see lawmakers trying to put in place bans and regulations, or because some of these companies and rogue actors are trying to skirt the laws. Not doing inspections, not doing ID checks, selling to underage kids, these are all problems. And if you have no repercussions, the companies are just going to keep doing it, and obviously the lawmakers are going to be pissed off and try to ban it for everyone. And who loses out? Everyone loses out. Now, it's not just about inspections and audits when it comes to age requirements and checking IDs, but also when it comes to super high levels of mold and yeast. And a lot of the growers are actually being blamed for that. But before we dig into that, just a quick reminder, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club, or just buy us a cup of coffee. And if you happen to be a home gardener, try the ICANN Organics, use the code LEGAL, it works on the bundle and the beans.
At 4:30, unsafe levels of mold and yeast were discovered at 2 Colorado Springs medical marijuana dispensaries.
Now the state is recommending those customers throw out the marijuana. KRDO News Channel 13 Scott Harrison is live at one of the affected dispensaries, the Chronic Boutique on Pikes Peak Avenue downtown. Scott.
Well, we spoke with an employee here at this dispensary earlier today, and he says that the marijuana contamination at this particular location is not from the dispensary, but rather from a grow house in Ordway that provides the plants to this dispensary. Let's take you to video now and give you more details about what we learned in this story today. Now, the State Marijuana Enforcement Division says that marijuana flowers passed an initial testing process but failed a second test. That led to the advisory that was issued because of potentially unsafe levels of mold and yeast, levels that can affect people with allergies or cause infections in people with weakened immune systems.
Now, the crazy thing about all this is that some of the consumers, some of the customers hitting up those dispos have no idea about any of the recalls, the high levels of contamination, or about the products that they're getting. And that's a big problem.
Yeah, well, no, I'm actually quite curious now, so I'm going to have to probably go give them a call here in a minute and find out exactly what I did purchase.
So you don't know if you bought anything?
I do not know. No, I don't know. I had not heard about the recent health issue.
The second medical dispensary involved was another Chronic Boutique, formerly in this strip mall on Palmer Park Boulevard. But we went by there today and we learned that a new owner has taken over the business and renamed it back in December. Now, the Department of Revenue is asking, as Bart alluded to earlier, that anyone who bought marijuana flowers at either of those dispensaries or the 4 other dispensaries involved throughout Colorado are asked to throw them away or return them to their place of purchase. Of course, we have posted more details about this on our web story right now at krdo.com.
The wild thing about all this, guys, is that eventually they're asking you to either return the flowers or throw it away, but so long after. A lot of folks, when they hit the dispo and get their flower, a lot of times it's not going to last longer than a couple days. So in a situation where a few months pass and then you're asking them to destroy the flower, it's already been consumed. The health risks have already been passed on to the customer. Now, these are stories which we see happening across multiple states. It's not just limited to Colorado, and a lot of people consider Colorado to be a really booming industry, but the truth is, in a recent State of the States report, Colorado actually scored a C+ when it comes to medical herb. Have a look.
Colorado didn't exactly get a failing grade, but this C+ came with some harsh notes. The medical marijuana advocacy group Americans for Safe Access says Colorado legislators and Governor Polis presided over the single worst rollback of medical cannabis it has ever witnessed. Martha Montemayor knows what they're talking about.
And we've helped over 15,000 individuals join the medical marijuana registry in the last 13 years.
She runs clinics from Denver to Montrose to help people get their medical cards.
We've had a very difficult year with patients losing access to products that were working well for them in the past.
Montemayor blames a state law in effect last year. The law made it harder for young adults under 21 to get a medical card and restricts how much patients can buy. A new bill she supports wouldn't really change that, but reverses the mandate for an in-person exam and a requirement for doctors to give patients more information about dosage, potency, and products.
It is going to undo all the common sense protections put in place just 2 years ago.
Rachel O'Brien's
around
group
the
helped get
recommendation
last year's
of-
law passed. She doesn't believe it's stopping people from getting the care they need, and she doesn't want to see the changes Montemayor is proposing.
We put some rules in place to protect patients and to protect these teenagers who were getting it and sharing it.
No matter where you fall in this debate, the numbers do not lie. Sales overall have gone down. So has the number of medical marijuana patients. If you like this law, it's a sign that it's stopping abuse. If you think the law needs to change, it's a sign that it's hindering access. Either way, the state Senate will start debate on the changes Thursday afternoon.
So even in Colorado, when it comes to the medical industry, some of those restrictions are making it harder for people to get their medical cards. And that's proving to be a barrier to people getting the medicine and the relief that they need. Now, you may be wondering, in a state where rec is already legal, what's the point of a medical card then? Well, there are a few benefits, so let's have a look at those.
Cole, couldn't people who can't get a medical card just use recreational marijuana?
I asked that same question, and the advocate says that there are three main benefits to having the medical card. It allows folks who need it who are 18 to 20 to get the medical marijuana as well. They can get a higher potency, and you don't have to pay such a high tax. So the benefits really are there for folks who need the medical help.
All right. Difference.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there you have it, guys. That's a big difference. So there are definitely benefits to medical patients getting their medical cards out in Colorado, especially in a situation where local, state, and county taxes can stack up and cause your medicine to become so much more expensive. And also, if you happen to be between the ages of 18 to 21 and need to access some of these products for medical purposes, then that allows you to do that. But all that said, let me know what you guys think about everything that we've discussed in today's video, from those cannabis companies which were kicked out of Colorado because of those liver-reported injuries, but also the dangerously high levels of mold and yeast. What do you guys think about all that? Drop it in the comments down below and let me know. Now, in our next story, you guys have surely seen that the government has been shut down, and that means big things for the cannabis industry. So if you haven't seen that, check it out because it's coming up right now.